Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Talk Conversation Series, a peer knowledge resource by the CXOs for the CXOs. Now to our host, Kanika Goswami.
Hi, we welcome you to our podcast On Stage with Enterprise Thought Leaders. My name is Kanika and I'm the managing editor of On.media's B2B enterprise technology platforms. We have regular engaging conversations with global thought leaders and industry experts, and we are having one such today with Mr. Kalyan Kumar of HCL Software. But we'll introduce him in detail later. Welcome to the show, Kalyan. It's great to have you back.
Thank you, Kanika. Thanks for having me. It's always great
It's a
to
pleasure.
have a conversation with you.
So we'll start with the background. Agentic AI is poised to revolutionize how businesses and governments operate, enabling independent decision-making, increased efficiency, and continuous self-improvement. Gartner predicts 78% enterprise adoption by 2028, but there are risks involved. Before adopting or using agentic AI, CIOs need to be capable of addressing accountability, trust, and governance challenges. And it's only after that that they can take a peek into the future and see how it is successfully driving better outcomes for their businesses. To discuss these issues and some more, today we have, like I said earlier, Mr. Kalyan Kumar. He's the Chief Product Officer at HCL Software. He'll be talking to us on the subject of Agentic AI and its transformative impact. Thank you so much for making time for us, KK, if I may call you KK.
Yep, please. Thank you, Kanika. And always a pleasure to talk to you.
So a bit of introduction to KK, and it's not a small introduction. He has so many laurels under his belt. I must talk about all of them. He leads HCL Software globally as a Chief Product Officer. In this role, he spans jobs across product specialist, sales engineering, product management, product engineering, support and central engineering, along with cloud, SaaS ops across 15,000 customers and over 700 business partners globally. With this experience and leadership, KK has been able to transform the organization into more than a sum of its many parts. Aside, KK is also a member of the Wall Street Journal CIO Network and the CNBC Technology Executive Council. He's a fellow of the British Computer Society and part of the WEF Global Future Council 2020 and 2021 for quantum computing and the WEF 2021 CDO community. He has co-authored 8 books on business technology and service management. In 21 and 22, Technology Magazine named him their global top 100 technology leaders, and he also topped the list in Startup Lane's top 20 CTOs of India in 22 and 23. In other fields, KK is a trustee and chairman of a London-based charity that drives adoption of cricket in state schools and continues to engage with the community on holistic development with sports. He's an active member of 8 county cricket clubs and select academics, and is a life member of the prestigious Malibone Cricket Club, which is the MCC. It is the hallowed ground, the heaven for Indian cricket fans. On a personal note, KK actively follows and plays cricket, squash, and golf, and he also follows football, rugby, and F1. And aside from that as well, he's a musician and was a drummer and percussionist for Delhi-based group Contraband. He now occasionally plays in local gig circuits in London. And I think your introduction is longer than the introduction I would give for HCL Software, KK.
Oh, no, you've been too kind. I don't know who sent you all this. Maybe you must have picked up something from our website profile, which
No,
I
I got
always
it from
say,
your company. I would have shortened it if I got it from elsewhere, but I got it from your team. So you can see
okay,
they're very
so
proud of you, and they want me to say all
no
of this in the
worries. I
introduction.
always try to keep my introduction in 160 characters, which is what exactly I put it on my X handle, correct? So, but thank you. Thank you. I think.
So I'm doubly proud to have you here with us today. So I start with the first point that I wanted to discuss with you, that reports indicate rapid growth of AI adoption at the 78% that Gartner predicts. But do you think enterprise infrastructure is ready for it?
I would say the definition of readiness is itself a very wide topic. If you really look at AI adoption, we've had AI in and around us over the last decade at good speed. Consumer AI is become like the benchmark now. So if you really roll back the clock 20 years, 25 years back, people used to say I used to go to work because I had better tools at work. Now you go to work, you downgrade your tooling. So you are less productive on technology that is being used in work than you use as a consumer, and which is a fact because a couple of reasons. I think the first, if you look at AI, the foundation of AI is data. And companies have never had the need to really reimagine or imagine the way they want to really build a data first enterprise. If you don't get your data strategy right, what would the AI foundational for AI is data strategy, getting your data products, data catalog, data governance, uh, uh, data contracts. Because now you are saying, I don't need the apps. The data is its own identity, and that multiple applications, multiple algorithms, multiple experience layers will consume it. So, which effectively means that if you don't get a data, and that's the biggest inhibitor for enterprises. The technology exists, the capability exists, but the foundational elements or sometimes untethering of things which has been wired up over the last 4 decades in enterprise IT, business IT, and all those different parts. That's the journey which enterprises need to go through. The tech is there.
And do you think CIOs are capable of leading them through that journey today?
See, the question is define CIO, correct? So,
Head of IT and IT
yeah,
operations,
again,
essentially.
interesting because the role of the CIO itself is morphed. In the current world, business technology, business owns tech. The role of the CIO in different companies, some companies call them CDO, some got new titles like CPIO in telecom. You will have, because in many companies, the CIO role is becoming more of a horizontal orchestrator, like a CTO, like technology orchestration, and more CIOs are effectively becoming the horizontal data custodians or data governance enablement, because every business unit is building their own product-centric operating model. So they're building more and more tech capability inside the business. So I think the question you need to ask is the CEO ready? It's always not. It's very, see, the CIO is executing a technology strategy for an enterprise. AI is not a CIO topic. It is the operating model change. So hence, we use a blueprint, which we'll talk about somewhere later in the podcast, called the XDO. The whole idea is the CEO ready to transform their business, do the changes in the organization to pivot into adopting the AI or agentic, Gen AI, all those different parts, because that's the only way this will happen. You can't put it onto the CIO's head.
So that's a very interesting discussion. It's a very outdated way of looking at designations and CXOs, making them either a CIO or a CISO or a CDO. So and now we've even spoken to a CDAO, who is the person who's a custodian of the data as well as the AI ops. So yeah, what you're saying is right. So technology is there, the will is there, and they are going to be forced to do it in the future. Data has to be taken care of.
Yep.
Would you be able to share some use cases where Agentic AI in particular has made a difference to the bottom lines of a company where they have used it?
So let me step back and see. Agentic AI is very early stage in the infancy. It's very important that we need to understand impact of AI. There are different techniques you can use. You can use machine learning, you can use generative AI, you can use large language models, small language models. You can create single skill agent, multi-skill agents. They are in the journey. I would say you need to step back. AI is not an end state. It's a means to an end. Unfortunately, what's happening in in the industry now, there is too much of AI washing happening. There is a lot of rapid, it's like you have a lot of tool and now you're trying to figure out how do I use it without thinking through what's the end outcome. So I would want to spend like a minute calling out a blueprint which we use. It's a very pragmatic blueprint. We call it XDO. It's experience, data, and operations. So the whole idea is, can you redefine experiences? a company delivers to their customers, to their employee, to their partners, for their product, their brand, doesn't matter. Like you want to deliver a better experience to your listeners of the podcast, correct? It doesn't matter. Every one of us is trying to figure out how do we improve experience. It's a board agenda. It's a CEO agenda. So how do you redefine experiences? Then you look at how do you reimagine data. Every company has troves and troves of data. How do you extract intelligence out of data? How do you organize data so that data can be consumed by different experience and operations subsystems? And the third, the rubber meets the road in operations, business operations, customer service, customer success, middle office, supply chain. That's where the whole action is happening, correct? When a process is getting executed, it's the ops. It could be business ops, it could be IT ops, it could be cyber security, doesn't matter what kind of ops is, or it could be physical operations. Then you start to look at how will you enable this whole piece. It's not about I, but we. It's an ecosystem. You will have to collaborate around the ecosystem because historically it's been I will want to do everything. Why? You have to find an ecosystem. But again, the value is in the intersection of experience, data, and operations. When you take experience and operations, you get experience orchestration. When you intersect data and operations, you start to get process and data orchestration. When you intersect data with experience, you start to get intelligence. The human, the people layer is the experience layer. The X is where the human and the AI interaction is happening. You're looking at, operations. You want to automate more and more, agile, autonomous. Can the agent learn, do all those pieces, correct? Can you take more and more work on ops? But why do you want to do this? Is to improve experience. How will you do this? By leveraging your data intelligence. So I would say that's what we are doing now. Where are the use cases? I would say you really break agentic into two big domains. One is, it's an old saying, they say cobbler's son doesn't have good shoes to wear. So we go and preach about adoption of agentic AI, everything to the business. How can you apply it to IT operations? So the biggest impact of agentic AI is in the subsystem of IT ops. We have been pushing this envelope for a long period of time, even before the evolution of what the current evolution of agentic AI. We've been pushing a big hill around this. We got about 3,000 customers on our intelligent operations product portfolio, which includes BigFix and other stuff. And maybe 10% of them have some level of Gen AI, agentic AI infusion into that, but at a very early stage. So if you look at the 5 level of agentic evolution, most of the adoption today is at level 1 and level 2. It is basically interaction of experience and some level of flow control and routing. The autonomous gold, which is called the nirvana state, it's an autonomous, self-learning, self-adapting. It's way out there. It's going to take time for these systems have to evolve and mature. But sizable, that's one. The second, I think, is a significant impact would happen in a lot of business. I would say a lot of process operations activities, which you do, which we erstwhile used to be called the BPO industry, in the BPO process automation, process services. But there you started to see a lot of RPA agents. They were also agents. If you roll the clock 5 years back, everyone was saying RPA is the nirvana, correct? But if you look at RPA, was robotic or repeatable process automation. But you can start to infuse a lot of capabilities. Now the question is, the traditional RPA approach will reach a point where it would get disrupted by a lot of agentic capability. And that's where you see significant impact or touch point. In application development, you're seeing agentic significant use of all these co-pilots and Gemini and Windsurf and Podium and all those tools which are coming up. People are saying, can I use agent to write code along with my developer so that things could go faster? In application security, we have an example called AppScan Rapid Fix. What AppScan does, it looks in the DevSec world around code vulnerabilities. But today what happens, that thing goes back to a developer and say, you manually fix it. In rapid fix, what happens is it can read through that process and fix the code and then go to a developer and say, I fixed this, are you okay? Or do like a check or some exception handling. So there are use cases. So you have to narrow the use case down. People trying to paint a picture of this matrix type scenario, the matrix movie type scenario, saying that everything is in the matrix, or trying to take a Terminator type view, because sometimes people have these two extreme views. The reality in enterprise is going to be a balance. There are certain tasks you might automate, and that's where our focus is. We say agentic, Gen AI, machine learning, computer vision are methods to an end. So we always use the XDO. Very simple. What is the customer trying to do? Improve experience, make operations more efficient, get more insights out of data. You go to any business, you go to your local burger delivery in McDonald's. They are also trying to do that. Improve experience, make operations better, use data and insights, what people like, what are they ordering. Every business can do that. And that is where we are focusing on, our orienting our products, our software, and also what we call a services software towards that direction.
That actually makes a lot of sense. And now I'm kind of embarrassed I asked you such a unilateral question, linear, because what you spoke about makes a lot of sense in the overall scheme of things. So, speaking from the point of view of the team that actually does the adoption of AI, does handling of the data in an organization, what are the risks that they may have to face before they reach any level of ROI which they can get from using this technology?
There's two things. First thing, they need to have a very strong enterprise orchestration strategy. I'll tell you why. Every software ISV is providing agents now. You look at today, there are, I think, if the customer has ERP, CRM, supply chain, might any product, they'll have agents now. So they will have 2 dozen, 3 dozen agents. How do you make these agents talk to each other if you want to stitch? But businesses don't run by agents. Businesses run by value streams. They are processes. Process will always be deterministic to drive an outcome. Go to a bank, you apply for a credit card. The end outcome is you get a card, don't get a card. If you don't get a card, there is a human in the loop who's making some decisions. But your functions or steps in a process will be probabilistic as you introduce more and more agentic, Gen AI, those execution step functions. But you need to stitch a process to an outcome. So companies, first thing, they will have to figure out that it's not about putting an agent here, putting an agent there. Is to really look at value stream management and understand what value chains am I impacting. And again, go back to the same question. Am I improving user, asset, or service? Correct? Is it improving the user value chain, an asset value chain, or a service value chain? And then you'll layer, am I doing this to improve experience? Am I doing this to make the operations more efficient? Or am I using the data to make decisions? Very, very important that a fool with a tool is still a fool. So hence it's very, very important that and companies have to look at it. Second, data quality, data governance, foundation building block, data catalog, data products, data marketplace, data contracts, data quality. The big issue is you are now expecting algorithms, language models to make decisions on your behalf. If you don't provide the right data set to train, then to infer, you will end up making decisions which will then increase the cost of reversing those decisions. So hence responsible AI, so the data quality could also be the quality of data, data ethics, responsibility. It could bring everything into the mix. So these are the two very important things. The third is security, cyber. You just think now you're putting so much digital dependency that if you don't wire it in the right way, you are catapulting the risk. So that's the three very important things enterprises. Think orchestration, think data, and think cyber. if you get these three fundamental building blocks right, then you start to roll it out in any shape and form, because you're not going to throw away all the systems. You have to integrate and orchestrate back to what you have today. God made world in 7 days because he had no installed base, which is what unfortunately our technology leaders have to live with. Installed base is not so easy. Greenfield is so easy than what we inherit.
It's the legacy systems that pull us down at the end of the day.
Yeah, but they are the ones where the value exists the most. I don't like to use, personally, don't like the word legacy. Legacy is what defines you. People use the legacy in a wrong connotation, but you step back and it's classic systems. See, these systems were not legacy 10 years back, 5 years back. Our challenge collectively in the technology industry is that somewhere we behave like boys' toys. I want all of them and I don't want to give away what I had before. Okay. So what's happening is that people are collecting or building systems, and many a times, what was the business need that time? That was the right choice. It's a very old, common thing in tech industry. Blame the predecessor. Oh, this guy did this. Previous CIO. People 90% of the time make the right decision. They informed decision. They made a choice, and it was a collective decision done by people. People just don't want to make bad decisions. That point in time, it's the right decision. Business model changes, industry model changes, disruption happens, systems have to change. So hence, I would say the industry has a unique opportunity to leapfrog by leveraging. You don't need to modernize old systems now, because the data in the old systems is what has the biggest value and intelligence. Extract value and intelligence, create a new experience layer. And why do you want to throw away the mainframe? People always want to throw the mainframe away. And every time they try this, they fail, because there is still value in that system. Transaction processing, one of the best subsystems available in the market. Low code, no code is a big noise today. There are extremely good workflow systems which existed for 20, 30 years. People built applications. Now because with agentic, with Gen AI, with data catalog and data intelligence, you can run the back-end workflows on those systems, extract the value, and change the way you deliver experience or operations. So people will start thinking differently rather than trying to just modernize for the sake of modernization.
That is what most of the organizations do, modernizing for the sake of modernization. And then there are enough people trying to push their own agenda, so that works
Yep,
too.
absolutely. Pragmatism is very, very important.
Yeah, true. We were talking about, could we talk about any particular compliances that are going to be required once we get, more and more use of AI or agentic tools in enterprises? And of
All your
course, governance along with the compliance.
First of all, compliances and regulations doesn't change whether agents are doing the work or humans are doing the work. Actually, the compliance overhead of ensuring that whether you are doing bias or whether you're using wrong data, making decisions, the accountability is still with the human, the executives, the board, the people who are operating the systems. Actually, the scrutiny level will increase purely because if you are making decisions, and that's where I would say the role of government in GovTech or government technology, foundational capability, like especially as agentic subsystems, AI subsystems span enterprise to consumers, because the customers for those enterprises either directly are consumers or either they are B2C or B2B2C. Correct. And more, the governments are building digital public infrastructure, which is providing a lot of foundational capabilities and also providing certain level of security. Like the perfect example, who owns access to my data? If you're using a consumer platform, if you're building a CDP, if a bank is trying to build a customer data platform, is trying to use cookies and MarTech. If I put and let's say it's in India, and I put my data in a DigiLocker, and say you can only access only for this purpose for this period of time. The responsibility of privacy control is moving more and more back to the citizen or the consumer. And today, what's happening when you're using a free Gmail or free Outlook email, you are trading in a bit of your privacy for convenience. But you can control. And hence, what's going to happen is as AI adoption goes at scale, employees, customers, partners in enterprises are also consumers and citizens. So the lines will continue to start to blur. And I would say that hence the importance of privacy, trust, and security becomes extremely, extremely important. And compliance will still do a significant play. You can't now say just because an agentic system takes a decision, people can absolve themselves, oh, I didn't make the decision. No, you are still accountable for the decision. The agent is just assisting you in the process.
So what do you see happening over the next 1 to 3 years? I think 3 years is a long time to predict. So what is the time period that you can look forward in the future, the crystal gazing? And what do you see and what is the time frame?
I would say a couple of things. I strongly believe that the technology is proving itself. In the consumer world, it's proving at good scale. Enterprises have a unique opportunity to, the next few years, get their data reimagining data, their entire reimagination of how they look at data. And as they get that piece executed well, these systems will learn very quickly and adapt and go around. I think the agentic evolution will happen. There is still a cost of how these systems operate using LLMs and tokens and other stuff. It looks very attractive in the start, but there is a big cost attached to this. So companies have to think about this, how they budget for. Traditionally, it's been very capex budgeting to move towards more opex type of budgeting models. Start to think the impact of these systems and adoption. Also think business models will change in the next 1 to 3 years. Today, SaaS software products, historically, the large scale SaaS examples, many companies out there have become bloated. And hence, it's becoming so much heavy that the cost for many companies to justify is becoming in. Other end, there are services companies who thrive around this significant SaaS bloating to help implement. I think as agentic becomes real, there is this whole new way of consuming software, which some call it systems of action, some call it service as software. But I think there is a convergence model where agents, if they are going to perform outcome-based actions, can you change the way you consume software? So your base capability is a software subscription, but all your agents, if everyone is saying my agents can do A, B, C, can you price your agents based on outcome of what it is delivering? It's a big business model shift. So hence, I would say the next 1 to 3 years, enterprises will get their data, the journey, the data foundation right. Get your metadata management. See, biggest important thing, definition of data, which sits in metadata. Get your metadata management right. Define your data catalog. Define your data product contract. That's a very foundational thing. Then you start to adopt all these technologies. And the second, the providers have to provide different licensing or consumption-based licensing models, which is going to drive some outcome around this.
So these and those are the questions I had for you. If I've missed something which you think we should know about, now's the time to add it, or else I would just have to thank you for your
I
time.
would say,
Tell me.
just in summary, what we are doing is just like the XDO blueprint exists with the customer and how they are thinking, we are reimagining how our software products and solutions support that XDO approach. We've got products enabling the experience layer, data, and operations. We've got a MarTech engine like Unica Plus, our total experience platform, our PBCs and digital commerce, our entire Big Fix and HCL Hive portfolio, AppScan, workload automation, HWA, they are supporting the operations play. We've got our data intelligence, which is the Acti and data intelligence powered by Xenia. We are also walking the talk of what customers are doing, and then investing a lot into the intersection of XDNO, which is primarily process and data orchestration, which is using our Uno, HCL Uno orchestrator, our HCL Foundry for experience orchestration, and then our data intelligence and data AI assistant for enabling the data to experience connections. So we're walking the path, but we're also launching new consumption-based, outcome-based licensing models to support this, because you have to walk along with the customer in the journey. So that's what we're trying to do. And keep learning, keep listening. We strongly believe that as a software business, you have to become highly customer success oriented and empathy centric. If you don't do that, you'll never be able to help the customer achieve their outcome. So that's what we're trying to do, one step, one day at a time.
Thank you so much, KK. It was really nice and very interesting conversation. I'll not say interview, I will say conversation, because it was more of a conversation.
I really enjoyed your questions, and I really enjoyed some provoking thoughts which you put out for me to share my perspective. I hope it was useful. And
Absolutely.
thank you once again.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being with us. Please do follow us on social media for regular updates and new content.